Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video I'm showing you my journaling process. This is my spring journal and I am using it chronologically, which I've never done before. So I have stuff from April that I need to get put in here. I'm almost done with April and so I'll be caught up shortly. These are some of the things that I know I want to put in. It was my eldest daughter, her birthday, and those were a couple of pictures from her day that she spent with her friends on her birthday. They went downtown and did some stuff together. So I knew that I wanted to have some pictures of that day, and I knew I wanted to write her a little letter. And I have this little stationery card. It's a post-it. It's a little vintage card. I had to trim it down so that it would fit, and I'm just trying to figure out where exactly I want my pictures. And I knew I wanted to put a couple of different pictures of her from her life, not just from when she turned 17, but I have some pictures from when she was first born, and pictures, or a picture from a few years ago. So I just kind of wanted to just write to her and express my feelings for how time goes by so fast, and it just feels like she was just born yesterday. And so I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to do that. That page that I glued down was from it's a printable from a vintage diary, and it says April on it, and it was like a cash, I think it was either a cash balance or a cash, a daily cash expense or something like that. So I was going to use that as my journaling paper. So I'm just gluing my pictures down. So I knew the things that I wanted to put in here. I just wasn't quite sure the order that I was going to do it in. I love that little stationery. It's so pretty. So I had 3 pictures that from when she was first born, and I was trying to decide which one I wanted to use to put on the cover of that. So I went with that one, with me holding her, looking at her, and her looking at me. And I was just trying to trim it down to get the size that I wanted. I knew I didn't want it to be too big because I wanted those flowers to show. I didn't want to cover up those flowers. And I had some sticker sheets pulled out. They are from K&Co, I think. They're old. They've been in my stash forever. And I'm trying to get a lot of things in my stash used up that I've had. And I'm kind of in a use it or lose it mode right now. So I'm just looking at that sheet and putting down some things. That sticker that I just put down says, wishing you joy on your special day. And I peeled off that little ladybug sticker because her nickname is Bug, and she's always been Bug. That's always been her nickname, and everybody in the family still calls her that even though she's 17. So I just wrote my Bug on the front, and I had this paper here. She wanted a desk built special for her room, and my husband drew up the desks from what she was talking about, and so we did that. We got that desk done for her. And then that little piece there, that's something that she actually drew probably 3 years ago, and I've just held on to it, and I decided to stick it in there. So now I'm trying to figure out if I wanted to open up that paper and show it, or if I wanted to just clip it in there, and I decided to just clip it in there. And then the picture is of the desk finished. And just looking for a clip to put it down with. And then that's another piece of that diary printable, and it was it has the dates on there, the 16th and the 17th, and her birthday was on the 17th. So I will journal little things that we did that day on those kind of papers, and it helps me remember. So when I actually go to use my journal, I have sometimes my journaling already done, and I'll just put it in the spot of that day. So I decided to go ahead and put another picture from when she was born, and that's one of my mom holding her. And I'm looking for a tiny word sticker, and I just put those flowers down, and that sticker says favorite moment. And then that other little tiny word sticker says, "You are my happy." And then I decided that I wanted to put a little clip there to hold it down, since it's supposed to be folded, but so it was kind of bunching up. And then I had this paper that I knew I wanted to put in that pocket from a previous day, and I had forgot to put it in there, and I looked up and I saw it, so I just went ahead and threw it in that pocket while I was there. Now this backside paper, that's the other picture that I wanted to use. That one's from a few years ago when she was 14, and I knew I wanted to cover that white paper up. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to cover it up with. That was a scrap piece of paper, but then I decided to go through my stash of wrapping paper and see if one of those would work, because I knew I wanted it to be thin. I didn't want a thick piece of paper there, because my journal's already getting kind of chunky, and I've only just started working in it. I'll probably have to take out a signature or maybe two, but that's okay. I usually end up having to do that anyways, because I put a lot of stuff in my journals. So I decided to go with this floral paper, and I cannot find my glue stick. My glue stick disappeared on me, and I gotta get another one, because using a glue stick sometimes is just the way to go. But I had this glue that I've never used before, so I thought I'd give it a go and try it out. And it's the same brand. It's the Elmer's Bond glue, but it was a wet glue instead of a glue stick, and I didn't really like it because it kind of crinkled up the paper. But that's okay. I think I was just gluing down the corners there. So we were just being silly that day, taking pictures. I was actually kind of making fun of her when I did that, because she was taking pictures where she was like puckering up her face, and I was doing the same thing that she does, so she thought it was funny. So now I was just trying to decide if I wanted to glue it down or pin it down, and I went with my tiny attacher. That's a stapler, but the staples are really small, so it's a Tim Holtz tiny attacher, and they're just so darn cute. I love using that thing. And then this is a stamp that a phrase stamp that I have. It's one of my favorites, and I decided to go ahead and use it there on that other page, and it says, "Have a heart that never hardens, a temper that never tires, and a touch that never hurts," from Charles Dickens. So I stamped it down there, but it was not vibrant, so I decided to go ahead and stamp it again on the opposite page. This is actually 2 days worth that I put together, because I had to stop and start again, and I didn't want to in my process with just a short amount, so I decided to put the two together. But it ended up being, I ended up doing a lot the next day, more than I expected to. So I like to tell little stories of my life, things that just everyday funny stuff I like to keep in my journal, stuff that we do every day. It doesn't have to be like a fabulous moment for me to journal about it, or a large event. It's the small things that tug at my heartstrings. And I had this picture of my other daughter, the littlest one. That day she had said a couple of funny things, and I had wrote them down, because she's always saying, you know how little kids are. She's 5. She just turned 5, but in that picture she was 4. They just say funny things. So I wanted to hold on to that memory. And I had these frames that when I was looking through my stash or something, I ran across these frames, and I thought I'm going to try to use one of them. But I decided to just cut it in half so that it wouldn't add too much bulk to the page. And then I just have these printables that I decided to use. So I was struggling with this spread for a little while. I just couldn't get it together. I knew the pieces that I had I wanted to put in there, but I was having a hard time figuring out how I wanted them to go in there. She had that morning, when she was getting ready for school, she was brushing her teeth, and that is like the last thing that we do usually before we go out the door, is she brushes her teeth and then we go. And that morning she was standing on her little stool, and I was just looking for something to go with it. Anyway, she was standing on her stool, and she stopped in mid-brush and looked at me all serious and said, "Mommy, I can't go to school today. I got the hiccups." Because she had the hiccups, and she had a party at school that day. And I said, "Well, you're going to miss your party." And then she was like, "Oh, I'll be okay." So it was just funny that she realized she had the hiccups, so she couldn't go to school. So I'm just kind of looking through this folder that I have, that I made. It's got just different pieces in it, odds and ends. And I found this printable, and I liked the yellow and the blue, but it didn't go with, the blue didn't go good with the red, at least that blue anyways. So I liked it, but I ended up not using it. I decided not to use it. And I don't normally fuss about that too much. but it was just not working for me this day. And then I had this book page, and I cut those florals off, and I was thinking maybe I could make a little pocket out of there to put my journaling in. And it just wasn't working. I was getting frustrated. I was like, oh, there's so much that I want to put on this little page because it was 2 stories worth. And yeah. So I ended up not using that floral piece. So then I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and stick this down and see where I go from there. So I stuck it down. And I think I'm putting glue. Yeah, I was putting glue on that there. I don't know what I was doing there. I was trimming something. I have the hardest time keeping things straight, even with the trimmer. I can't glue things down straight, cut things straight. It's just, it is what it is. So I had this little card that I pulled out of that folder, and I thought I could use that and tuck my journaling behind there. And I decided to just go ahead and staple that on. And it's one of those blank back trading cards. It's a vintage trading card, but there's nothing on the back side of it. And I have a little collection of them. I absolutely love them. They are so much fun to use as tuck spots. So that's what I did there. And then the second story of that day had to do with her shirt, which she calls her shirt, really her clothes, her dress. If she needs help getting her shirt off, she always says, Mommy, will you help me with my dress? So, and then here I'm just trying to figure out what I want to put on the back side of that. And I still wasn't sure how I was going to tell my story, so I'm just flipping through some printables that I have. And I picked out this little girl because she reminds me of Abby. And then I decided, no, I go back to that. Okay, so I wanted to use the toothbrush and toothpaste because the story happened when she was brushing her teeth, and that's another item I've just had sitting in my stash that I wanted to use up. But it had these foam dots on the back, and I peeled them off because I didn't want it to be too thick. So I'm just putting glue on that. I'm sorry that this video is so long. I was just going to town with it that day. Yeah, and I wasn't sure. I was like, well, maybe I can turn this the other way, but it looks better like that. And then I still have that scrap of paper. I really wanted to use that scrap because I am so trying to get my scraps used up. And so this next journaling spot is about my son and how he is finishing up 5th grade. He's going to be going into middle school, which is a little scary. And I had ran across this paper that he made in 2nd grade, I think it was. And I remember him being little and being all proud about that paper. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I held on to it for so long. and he was like, "Mom, this is Jeremiah Awesome." So I decided to fold it up and just glue it down and have it kind of be like a little fold out piece. So, and then I was thinking, I think I want to put a little tab here. And I couldn't find one in my stash that I like, so I decided to just punch one out with my tab puncher. That's from Stampin' Up! Too. My flow of journaling I usually just stick my stuff down and then I'll journal about it later. Now I had put tape on the top part of that, so it was sticky up there, so I needed to put something so that the tape wasn't sticking to everything else. So I just went through my washi and grabbed this animal washi and put a piece of washi up there. And there it folds out. But since it was poking up so much, I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and put a little paper clip here too. And I struggled with getting that paper clip on there. So now I don't know what I was doing. Trying to figure out where exactly I want my photo. And then I have these, I just found these the other day, and I totally forgot that I had them. They're like these little Hummel cards, and they are the cutest little things. And I don't know if maybe they came with some Hummels. I remember I bought them at an estate sale years and years ago, before I even started junk journaling. I just thought they were so cute. And I went with this one that has 3 little boys, and they had like a little chalkboard that said 1+1, so it was school themed. So I stuck that down there, and then I'm back to this paper again. I don't know what I was doing. Probably getting my trimmer. Oh, now I'm back here. I was very indecisive. I kept flipping around through all the different spreads that I was wanting to get done. And then I had this other paper that my littlest one, she drew her name on and drew a picture, and she's getting to where she's drawing all the time now. And that paper, she actually drew bodies on her people. Before, she would always just draw the head, and the arms and the legs would come off of the head and they wouldn't have a body. But she actually drew a body on that paper, so I wanted to save it. So now I'm trying to figure out what exactly I want to do, if I want to cut it or just fold it over. And I decided to just fold it over. So there's the picture with the bodies that she drew. And I didn't want to, I wanted it to be where you actually see it, instead of folded up and like tucked in a pocket or something, just because I was surprised and excited that she was actually drawing bodies. So now I'm back to this page, and I knew I wanted to have something about my son there, and I had this box. I have this little box beside my desk of things that I know I'm going to eventually put in my journal to help me tell stories. Excuse me. And he loves blackberries. And anytime I go to the store, he always asks me, "Did you buy any blackberries? Did you buy any blackberries?" Or if I don't get blackberries, he's always like, "Well, why didn't you get blackberries?" So I knew I wanted to use that ad to talk about his love of blackberries. I put a lot of food things in my journal. And I didn't realize it until I went and looked through my other journal, and there's little pieces of our food life. But I like the idea of, when he's older, he can look back and see the spread and have that memory of, yeah, Mom used to get me blackberries. I used to love them. So I put some washi down. I wanted to make sure that it was going to stay down, so I just grabbed a quick piece of washi and threw it down. And then I wanted a label so that I could write about how he's still in love with blackberries. And I was having a hard time finding a label. And then that's just another little drawing that my daughter had done, so I tucked it in that pocket. And I just was writing about how she's drawing bodies now. So I don't know if I'm still looking for a label, because I knew I wanted one, and I thought I had some over to the other side, and I found these, but I didn't end up using them for the blackberries. I stuck them down on the drawing page, or stuck one of them down. Just as a decorative piece. And I think I'm looking through my drawer of labels. Or I thought I was anyways. Okay, I'm going back to this page. I guess I gave up on labels. So I decided to go ahead and start my journaling. And so I'm telling the story about, I don't know what I was doing there. I'm telling the story about how that same day, later on in the evening, she was eating a snack, and she had ketchup. And the ketchup, she got a little blob of it on her shirt, and she was like, "Oh, I got ketchup on my shirt. Mommy, I'm so sorry." Or she said dress. And she looks at me, she's like, "Did you buy this for me? Did you buy me this dress? Did you buy it for me?" And I said, "Yeah, baby." And I thought that she was going to be remorseful still about the ketchup, but she crinkled her eyes up and she said, "I told you get me a blue dress," because blue's her favorite color. And it just cracked me up because the conversation did not go where I thought it was going to go. So I'm still trying to find something to put in that top right hand corner of the blueberries. And I had pulled out this bag of different pieces that I've had forever. Everything in my stash I've had forever. I haven't bought anything new in a very long time because I have, as far as new lines and things like that go, just because I have so much of the old stuff, so I quit buying. And but I still buy the old stuff, like at like if I see something in a thrift store or, you know, a yard sale or something like that and it's a good price, I'll get it. But and then I had this other die cut piece set, and I thought I would maybe put a butterfly there. And then I was looking at the labels, but I didn't like how that looked. So I was basically going through all these pieces really to find a label, but if I found a piece that would go with something else, I was going to use it, but that didn't work out either. And then the third pack, I'm telling you, it was something. Sometimes it just flows easy peasy, you know, and everything comes together, and other times it's a struggle, and that day it was a struggle for me. So I happened to have these labels, and I liked that they were not stark white. So yay, I finally found one. And so then I decided to just look at these pieces and see if there was anything that I would want to use. And it had some cute little phrases in it. And that set I actually got maybe a year or two ago at a scrapbooking yard sale. And it says $1.50, so I guess I paid $1.50 for it. And I'm a big time bargain shopper. I love bargains. So I was just digging through, looking for anything that might go on my pages. I was kind of thinking about a butterfly. And I went with that circle one there that says loving this. I guess I could have probably cut all this out. And then there's a little bird. I really liked the little bird. I thought it was cute. And I liked the butterfly. But I went with that bird. And then that little thing that says remember. And I wanted to put something on top of it, just so it didn't look like it was floating there. So I just grabbed a little piece of washi and ripped it and put that on there. And then I guess I was done with that, other than my struggle to get them back in the bag. here. I guess I'm just looking at my pages. Oh, I'm gluing that down. So I did I guess I did eight pages. That's that little phrase thing. Which it felt good. It did feel really good to get a lot of stuff in my journal, because I'm ready to get to May. I'm trying to get to where I'm journaling like right when it happens, because I like to do it when the memories are fresh, so I don't leave anything out. And I think other than writing, I wrote a little journaling right by that Hummel card, and I think that's about does it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.